Mpofu and Tembeka Ngcukaitobi have been allowed into the Zimbabwe Constitutional Court. This after earlier reports that they were barred from the court. Well, for more on this, we're joined on the line by Rumbidizai Venge. He's a legal practitioner in Harare, Zimbabwe. Thanks very much for joining us, Rumbidizai. It's not all the election results that have been challenged, is it?
Good afternoon. Thank you for having me. Yes, that is correct. All that's being challenged out of the harmonized elections that we had is the presidential election. The National Assembly, which relates to parliamentary seats, as well as the council elections, are by and large not being contested at all in the present petition filed by Nelson Chamisa.
So can you take us through the main contentions of both parties?
Indeed. The main contentions of the applicant being the Nelson Chamisa are that the election was not free, it was not fair, and that it should be deemed a nullity. In the alternative, he's also seeking that he be declared as the winner of the election and not Emmerson Mnangagwa. And then he goes on to actually then also advocate for a fresh election altogether within 60 days in the alternative. And then looking at the opposing papers that have been filed by Emmerson Mnangagwa, his main points of contention in opposing the application are that the election was indeed free and fair, that the grounds that are being relied on are an abuse of court process, and that there is no credence to any of the claims being made in Nelson Chamisa by his papers. The Electoral Commission equally tends to mirror some of the points that have been raised in Emmerson Mnangagwa's notice of opposition and opposing affidavit, where they also then cite the issues of procedural irregularities in that some of the papers were served out of time, out of the required or prescribed time periods that the court allows, the issue of some of the documents missing from the court bundle as well. And these have been raised as preliminary issues. But by and large, both parties in opposition are stating that there is no merit to the application before the court, and that the Constitutional Court should dismiss the application in its entirety.
Well, let's say, for example, Mr. Chamisa's application succeeds. What would the process then be? Would they have to go to a re-election, or would they have to do a recount? What would it mean?
What it would mean really would be determined by the order that the Constitutional Court makes. Because even from the draft order in the application, the relief that is being sought by Nelson Chamisa is actually two-pronged, and there is an alternative. So if the Constitutional Court, for example, agrees with Nelson Chamisa and declares that the election was a nullity, then that means we have to have a fresh election within 60 days in terms of the Constitution. If they, however, dismiss that application, it then means that the inauguration of Emmerson Mnangagwa can go on within 48 hours of the pronouncement of the Constitutional Court judgment. And equally, if they order a recount or a runoff, then we'd have to wait for procedures for those things that have been ordered by the court to be seen to take course.
Okay, so this question is not about you being a lawyer, but it's about you being a Zimbabwean. Whichever way things go, are you hopeful that Zimbabwe will get the necessary funds to inject capital in the economy and get things picking up again?
Oh, absolutely. It's my hope as a Zimbabwean that, we've sort of been in a comatose state or in a state of hibernation from the 30th of July up until present day, waiting on, with bated breath on the results of the elections. The economy has really also sort of been on pause, waiting for the outcome of the elections. And I'm very hopeful and of the firm belief that as soon as we have a position, our country will be able to move forward. And I'm optimistic, and I'm hoping for a turnaround in our economy particularly.
Thank you very much.
And a peaceful transition at that as well.
Of course, of course. Thank you very much, Rumbidizai Venge. She's a lawyer in Zimbabwe.